as you all know, we have a big Filipino community over there in the United States, and we even saw some Filipinos campaigning actively for Zohran Mamdani in New York. There were even jeepney-inspired posters. I wanted to ask you, how much do you think the Filipino-American community shaped the outcome of this elections?
I think a huge amount. So I want to shout out my good friend and colleague, Assemblymember Stephen Raga out in Queens, and then his team as well with the Filipino-American Democratic Caucus out in New York, composed of Michelle Amor, John Bahia, and Tita Loida Luis Nicholas, who's one of the, I'd say, exemplars of Filipino excellence, being one of the millionaires here in the United States. And they poured heavily into the Democratic campaign of Zohran Mamdani. And we even see in this transition that there's a Filipino-American who is also on that transition as well. And so bringing out the Filipino-American voice, especially from Queens, New York, where former now Assemblymember Mamdani represented, goes to really show the impact of the Phil M vote and the Phil M voice, that they really organize the community to get out the vote, really fund it in order to see the change that they want to see over in New York, especially that when you look at the wealth and income distribution, the Filipino Americans are still really struggling with the affordability crisis in New York. And so whereas former Governor Cuomo or Curtis Lewa didn't really offer an answer to that affordability crisis, that answer came in the form of now Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. And so Zohran really truly speaks for the Filipino-American community. It really understands the Asian American community as a whole, as someone part of the community.
Well, there are people who really have difficulty telling the difference between communism and anything that has the word socialism in the phrase. But given that, in the Philippines, we're more familiar with the SOCDEMs, the Social Democrats. What's a democratic socialist?
Yes, so a democratic socialist is sort of someone where I'll just throw it out there, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Bernie Sanders, that really within the confines of the capitalist system, that you work as an elected democratic official, and not democratic as the party, but just someone who's elected through folks directly voting for you, advocating for an expanded social safety net. And that is kind of where the socialist part comes in, if you will. And so important to know, of course, that socialism comes from Karl Marx and Engels out in Germany, that they really believe that it is that transitionary stage of where workers will take back sort of the economy that they've produced or have a say in it, and then eventually that transforms into communism as an official state ideology, where communism is the workers and the state completely owning the means to production. So in this case, sort of democratic socialism is the hybrid of where you can have that expanded social safety net or that expanded, I'd say, social insurance of socialism in a capitalist system. And so that is exactly what Zohran Mamdani really proposes, where he, again, advocates for free buses, free transportation, all funded by those who make much more, the top 1 or 2% of New York. So what this goes to say is, again, the middle class or the lower class folks of New York won't necessarily be the ones that are taxed or being extracted from, but rather they are being the ones who are being supported by those who make much more than them. It's just holding those who are making more accountable and being able to provide an equitable wealth distribution and that strong social safety net for everyone. Again, when we all support the ones who are at the most vulnerable or at the bottom, we all win.